It's Saturday, July 30th, and it's about time that I am able to give you this really good news. The Justice Department is heating up, that's right, heating up on its investigation of J6. As most of you know, I have been very critical of the Justice Department's pace in this matter of the January 6th riot. But now, according to sources very familiar with the matter, the prosecutors are preparing for a court battle to force former White House officials to testify about President Trump's conversations and actions during the insurrection. One of the issues that's still on the table is executive privilege. President Trump, the former president, is still making claims of executive privileges, even though it's been determined that executive privilege ends when you leave the White House. The president, the ex-president, is still carrying on about executive privilege. And now that the DOJ is going to move deeper into the ranks of the White House officials who directly interacted with Trump, the screams of executive privilege are going to get louder. But hopefully to no avail. These actions by the DOJ are the clearest sign that the federal investigators are honing in on Trump's conduct as he tried to prevent the transfer of power to Joe Biden. There are many experienced lawyers who feel that an executive privilege court fight would end up with the Justice Department taking a more aggressive stance than even the Mueller investigation. And Attorney General Merrick Garland, in his public statements, has said that Trump is not beyond the reach of the investigation because he has status only as a former president. And he said the DOJ has been slow to move up to this point. Those are my words, not his, because they are taking care to get this right. Those are his words. And while I have felt helpless in this situation because of the pace of the Justice Department, I recognize the fact that the Justice Department faces the unusual situation of investigating a former president for actions taken while he was in office. And it could bring about one of the first major court fights over the separation of powers in the J6 criminal investigation. So I will cut them some slack since they're getting to go a little faster, because I recognize the fact that if they screw this up, that would be a disaster for this country. One other thing came up in my research on this matter. In 1974, the Supreme Court ruled to release the Watergate tapes despite the presidential executive privilege claim. That was during President Nixon's term in office. That was a landmark ruling because he was the president of the United States and the Supreme Court refused to accept executive privilege in that case. And then during the Clinton administration, there were several instances of executive privilege that was overruled by courts. Not the Supreme Court at that point, but other courts. Now, I'll tell you what terrifies me. This particular Supreme Court is liable to rule differently if the matter comes up before them. Think about that. You have 3 Trump appointees on this Supreme Court. Do you think, based upon the way that they have acted and lied in their confirmation hearings, that they would not defend Trump? I think that's a piss-poor situation for us to be in if executive privilege comes up before this Supreme Court. How about that? As the issues associated with executive privilege stand right now, executive privilege is not enough. It's not enough to overcome the needs of a federal grand jury investigation. We can look at the positive result of the Trump National Archives conflict, where in 3 months they declared that he had to turn the papers. So that was a victory for Trump's opponents. And let's hope if this thing continues to the courts, his opponents will win again. And finally, the J6 committee has agreed to share 20 transcripts with the Justice Department. Finally, we have a positive breakthrough in what appeared to be a stalemate around the information that the J6 committee was gathering. And maybe it was just getting all the paperwork lined up properly. Or maybe it's because the committee recognized the fact that the DOJ investigation is heating up and every piece of information is now critical because time, as we know, is running out. So the J6 committee is doing the correct thing by getting these transcripts over to the Department of Justice. Better late than never. Benny Thompson said that the Justice Department is particularly interested in individuals connected to the plan to put fake electors for the former President Trump in place. So maybe that's what the 20 documents are for, or maybe it's other things and that. So far, according to Thompson, the only issue that they have talked with the DOJ about is the list of fraudulent electors. And they did that earlier this month. But that could be a dynamite piece of information. And that might be the most concrete information that you have to nail Trump. The fact that he was willing and asked several officials in the state governments to switch out the current elector candidates with the people that Trump wanted put in place so that they would vote for him. That's a clear indicator. This is not a wishy-washy situation. That is a definite piece of vital information, concrete information that would be very hard to dispute in a court of law. And if I'm not mistaken, there are phone records to back up those transcripts and the testimony of those people. So I leave you with that this morning, with the happy news that the DOJ is moving swiftly now. So have a great day.